So hi guys, Jonathan Graham here for Guitar Interactive Magazine. We are sitting here with Murph from the Wombats. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Man, it's such a pleasure to see you, but in particular when it's a release of a new album and it's just dropping in a couple of days.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Good, yeah. It's kind of that interim period when it is no longer mine and it becomes everyone else's. See, I'm excited but a bit nervy and kind of quite tired.
Yeah, of course. No, I can believe it. But you should rest easy. Obviously, Oh the Ocean. It's called. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
I got to hear it a couple of days ago. Obviously, you need that fan reaction. But
Yeah.
You're coming off a #1 record, the biggest record you guys have done, sold out tours all over the place. Was there that little bit more pressure to follow up such a hit record?
No, not really. It would be nice to have another #1. But no, I think we just want to make. I just want to make albums that people want to listen to.
Right.
25 times from start to finish before they kick the bucket. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
And if it charts at number 20 and does that, and charts at #1 but doesn't do that, we'd rather it chart at 20.
Has that always been your approach to writing?
No. No, not back in the day. Not on like album 2, where I had kind of Warner breathing down my neck, and and rightly so, trying to get the best out of me and the band. So then I would have, I would have probably wanted the more material #1 than the long-term value.
No, absolutely.
Just to get it done with.
For sure. And in terms of like the process of actually crafting the music, because obviously, like everything feels on here like it's super cohesive. It needs to be an album. I think it can't just be. These days you wonder, is the album format even as important? Because people can just release singles and just keep that train going. This feels very much like a collection of songs that needs to be an album. Was that specifically the way you set out to do this? Because obviously coming off such a hit record, you could take that approach where you go, well, we'll just drip feed a few bits and pieces over the time, but you guys sat on it, you crafted something fantastic, and then you end up with this new record.
We wanted to do something different, and we figured that not taking a risk was the riskiest thing we could do.
Right.
So we worked with John Congleton, who's worked with everyone basically, and is a bit of a mad bastard, and it was a whole different approach to recording an album than we've done on the last 3. Well, all of them, to be honest. And we recorded every song from, everything was tracked from the start to finish. There was no like jumping into a point. Even if you wanted to jump into a point at the end, you had to go from the start.
Wow. Okay.
And he didn't listen. John didn't listen to any of the demos, which are demoed to a high. We could release those demos. They're pretty. They sound good. He didn't want to listen to them, and so every song started with generally me just playing the song on an acoustic guitar or on a piano or something, and that's how we got into the song, and then we started working from then on with a lot of live takes. It was very different.
Yeah.
And kind of annoying at times.
But the songs were finished at that point. You said the demos.
Yeah, the demos were good. I mean, there were a few songs where kind of the structure or arrangement changed, but the songs were all there, ready for him to listen to if he wanted to.
So that obviously why that gives it that extra little bit of energy there. So what are some of the frustrations about crafting the recordings in that way?
To be honest, it was me. I just got frustrated, I think, on like 2 occasions where I was playing a song that clearly isn't meant to sound like a open mic night kind of at a pub at 10 p.m. kind of thing, and I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But aside from those couple of moments, everything was great, and I think it has this organic kind of raw, messy quality. Like it's not the most gridded, where it's just not a gridded album. It's not like it's not the height of our musicianship. It's not perfected. It's just a bit below to give it that excitement.
But there's a human element that's going on
Yeah.
there, because obviously you guys, you're prolific with your live shows, incredible energy on these shows as well. So I guess that must have been the goal, was to capture a little bit of that energy in a live show.
Yeah.
Because over the years, I suppose, when you're recording in different ways, you don't always... I mean, it allows for people when they're going to a live show to get a completely different experience, but it is a shame sometimes that that's not captured, and it definitely does feel like you've got that on O the Ocean,
Yeah, it feels like it's definitely the closest we've ever got to a live show on an album.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And a lot of the things that he would have us do were as I said, if we wanted to go into a certain specific part of the song and change something, we'd start from the start and finish at the end, not just jump to that section. And he would never ever take the bit that we were aiming at. He'd
Wow.
take all the mistakes and accidents that happened around it. So it's kind of an album of purposefully found accidents.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic for sure. Just taking things back to the start, do you remember like the first sort of time you were hearing the guitar, it really sort of in a song that just made you feel like, I need to pick one of these up and learn?
Oh God. My dad had me playing guitar when I was 5 or 6 years old, like classical guitar, and I didn't really like it, but I did it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. And then my music taste went on a serious kind of U-turn into like dancey, happy hardcore scouse stuff. And then I heard Creep one New Year's Eve. So maybe the chugs in just before the chorus of Creep would be a moment that made me go, yeah, I would like to do that.
Just inspired you in that
Yeah.
way. And then what were you playing guitar wise? Like, what did you have when you were that young?
Always tellies. The first telly I got was kind of a Johnny Greenwood-esque, beautiful grey burst, would that be
Right.
called?
Okay, yeah.
Telly, but with really hi-fi Japanese pickups in it.
Sure.
I can't remember what the brand name was. So yeah, always tellies.
Just that shape's always stood out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Tellies and Strats, and then my Blue Bob, the telly I've been using for about 20 years now. I don't know how he's still going, but yeah, it's just a neck pickup and a bridge pickup, going straight to the volume pot. So there's really little. You can't do much with the sound. It's either on or off.
And has that always been your approach? You've just sort of preferred to just go, keep it as simple as possible, use it more in terms of like the colours are coming from you more than necessarily effects pedals and messing around with the amp?
Oh God, I hate messing around with the amps and effects pedals. Like fully, I just can't. I don't have the patience to twiddle anymore. But yeah, I just like the guitar that feels good, sounds good for a live show, and I like them bright for the live show because there's so much bass coming off stage. I need something in my head, something to sit on top of all the low end. But yeah, I mean, I play some Strats and other things on stage which have the pickup selectors on, which I keep knocking and changing, and that starts annoying me. So I just like a guitar with a volume pot.
Absolutely. And how does that change for you in the studio? Because obviously there's plenty of colours that are going on in there, big wall of sound at times. Must be, multi-tracked and what have you. But is that something you're actively getting involved in after the fact, or you'd leave that down to the production a bit more?
I think when we're tracking, we will cycle through guitars and amps and pedals and stuff. But I can only do 30 minutes of that before I'm like, what is this? We need to stop and just record. But to be honest, John is so good with all that stuff.
You can just relax.
I can relax
that.
and rely on him.
Of course, for sure. Now, it's one thing to be able to play guitar, but to be able to write for your own voice is, it's incredible talent. Finding your own voice with songwriting, was that something that came to you quite quickly, or was it something you really needed to work on to? get it down?
It when I first started writing songs, I honestly kind of was just ripping off other stuff, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And then I remember a period when I was in uni, like listening to Different Class by Pulp, and just listening to Jarvis Cocker's lyrics and going, oh, he's just singing about real life stuff, and that is resonating with people. And then that kind of opened up a portal for me, and I was like, oh, I don't have to be as ambiguous anymore, and I can wear my heart on my sleeve and just open up the floodgates. And I think that was when, I guess my voice started coming through. And I guess I've also been lucky enough that I'm a pretty open person, so it's kind of easy for me to just talk smack about myself or my loved ones even, and just get it on, get it out,
and get it down. No, obviously, great singer, songwriter, all of that stuff. But it's kind of taken for granted sometimes how great artists like that can really be very real on a record, because a lot of the time, especially these days with social media and filters and all that, the same thing happens in music where people kind of wear these masks, something that they're not. But the stuff that really resonates, of course, is something that's very true. And but it's easier said than done to actually do that. So to find out that you've been able to do that right from the off, it's impressive, but also disappointing that it's not something that you learned. I guess that all the greats, that's it, they just kind of have that in them.
I don't know. It still gets me into trouble. Like my wife Akemi is always like, there's a song on this new album kind of all about our old neighborhood, and I'm really just exposing the gossip. And she's like, why did you have to do that? Like, when this album is released, at least 40% of them are going to hear this, and you're going to put us in an awkward situation. I'm like, I am, and I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you're part of the tour that's coming up. Obviously, you've got this fantastic Homecoming show record release on Friday, but you'll be back at the O2 again in London.
Yeah.
Obviously played Glastonbury multiple times. What are some of the downsides of playing these mega shows? Because obviously people just look at like, oh, it's amazing, that's sold out, everyone's there to adore you and what have you. But there must be some aspects of it that are a little bit challenging, playing a big venue.
Well, there's certainly aspects to huge festivals that are challenging. Just getting on site, making it's just. Festivals are a bit of a struggle. Getting on site, getting all the right credentials, making sure that you all your gear isn't covered in mud and piss, and getting on stage with everything working is a lot. But then the shows are amazing. But then I don't see a downside in big shows like the O2. I am way more comfortable in that setting than I am, at a 400 capacity club where I can see everyone's faces, and I can see that like Murray's brought her boyfriend, but he is not into the Wombats, and like he's having a shit time, and I can see all this stuff playing out across the set. It
takes you out of it,
and it takes me out of it and starts to prang me out. Whereas in the O2, it's like big lights. Everyone is kind of one massive energy, and I can hide as well. I feel like I can hide at the O2. I can't hide in the smaller shows.
Absolutely.
So there's really no downside to the bigger ones for me.
Makes sense. Playing a show at the O2, what's your rig setup going to be for that? Obviously, we'll see that very recognisable telly, but what about amps wise?
Oh well, we're on Kempers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you switch to that?
Fourth album, I think. Was it the fourth? No, was it the fifth album? I think it was fourth or fifth album, or maybe in between.
And I suppose once you're at that stage where you're playing such big venues, a lot of the time you're hearing probably just what's coming back through the monitors and that anyway. So I guess with the Kemper, you're not really feeling a difference in the the sensation.
Well, the great thing about the Kempers is, and why I wanted to use them was because it allows us to have, 10 different guitar sounds in one song. And I was always kind of tap dancing as I was trying to play and sing. And I was always kind of bouncing between these, whereas you can just, the Kempers just do it
it's just
for
there,
you.
yeah.
So I think I would rather, like in an ideal world, we would rather go back to touring amps for that kind of sound, but it's just too easy.
I suppose as well, like touring the world as well, it's so easy now, isn't it? You could just put that in your hand
Yeah, I
luggage.
mean, our tour manager was very, very happy when we decided to do that. Yeah.
I bet for sure. Looking back on the Wombats' career, I mean, we're over 20 years now that you guys have been around, and obviously the music industry has changed massively in that point. I mean, now when you guys came in, the process even to sort of get signed or get popular is that's almost non-existent now. People getting big off TikTok and what have you. If you were starting over again, would you do anything different today?
Well, I almost I kind of think it's more extreme now that when we started, still artists and bands were only getting signed when they could pull a crowd.
Yeah.
We only really got a record deal after we sold out the Academy in Liverpool. But now I guess that's translated to, well, you can only get signed if you've got 500,000 TikTok followers or whatever. So now it just seems kind of crazy and a bit brutal. But the question was, what would we do differently?
It's just the old man in me kind of feels a bit like that process there is, incredible way of connecting with an audience, where you get this, visceral thing of seeing a band live, and they know they've got that following, they can cut it in a live situation, and then you want to hear the records. Whereas, I don't know, sometimes people are just liking something off the back of they hear 20 seconds of it in a little TikTok video.
Yeah.
So if you were coming in now, I mean, obviously you want the success, so you're going to try and go the direction that is going to facilitate that. But do you think you would still take that route of what worked for you, or what's actually working for others these days?
I think so, because I think you want to hone your craft live before you make a record. Doesn't it? Doing it the other way, where you get big on social media, make the record, and then start touring. I just don't see how that is a long-term strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are obviously doing it, but there's got to be a lot of people who are getting signed, making a record. It doesn't do well, and then it's just
how are you sort of consuming music these days?
Through my daughters, streaming, kind of Spotify, Amazon, things like that. But I don't really have much choice over what I listen to.
And of course, you just celebrated a very important birthday recently. I mean, do you find these days you've got space? Because I'm finding I'm running out of space for bands, new bands.
Yeah.
It's like the ones I like, they're kind of there, and I'm trying to not be that old guy that's not into new stuff. But you need to kind of keep one foot on it, don't you?
Yeah, which I don't. I would like to, but no, I'm just in a kind of the wind tunnel. I would describe it as of just kids and schools and driving around everywhere and just trying to get to the end of the day without anyone kind of needing to go to the hospital. It's basically my mind frame at the moment.
Just touching on that slightly. I mean, over the years, your music is, it's kind of referenced, some anxiety and mental health stuff and what have you. And of course, that's never been more prevalent in today's world, where everyone's 24/7 on social media and anxiety levels are at a max. How have you learned to control that over the years? Is there a hack?
Well, the ultimate hacks would probably be like breathing exercises, like Wim Hof has a load of good ones that will remove the anxiety within about 5 minutes, I'd say. And then exercising, and then just kind of being mindful, stuff like that. Really, the biggest thing I did was getting sober, and then doing all that stuff on top of it, and that kind of sorted out the wig outs. But they still come. I've just got to remember that a life ran on my will is not gonna work. It's like I find myself wanting to construct the day specifically to my tailored needs and wants. Right. And if I start the day in that headspace, I'm fucked. I just need to like let go and just kind of let the universe do its thing.
Get out of your own way.
And get out of my own head.
And is that your approach in music as well?
Yeah, pretty much. Apart from writing a lot of titles, I'm really big on titles, so I've got a huge list of them. But apart from that, as soon as the door closes behind me in whatever room I've gone to write in that day, it's just about freaking out until something happens. There's no direct path. I think it's you've just got to wait. Sometimes you got to have a bad day. Sometimes it comes, and I don't know where from. Yeah,
of course. Now, like we're saying, a lot of your rig can kind of stay the same over the years. We're used to seeing you with particular guitars. Anything you've added to your collection over the last couple of years that you can't put down?
Wait, did you guys do like a Starcaster kind of thing? No.
Oh yeah, but Fender, yeah, absolutely. They do the Starcaster. Yeah.
I think I got one of the newer versions of that, which has been great. I just like the simple Tele Strats, and then I have a couple of kind of like fancier Mustangs, which I use for recording, but not for live, which I love. I'm quite into the old Mustangs.
Killer. Well, look, absolute pleasure to chat with you. Congratulations on the new record and the tour that's coming up, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the O2.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.